Okay, yeah, you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Good.
Yeah. Are we live now?
We're going live now. Ellen, can you tell Ellen that we're on at 9 o'clock? Yeah.
Hi.
Hello.
Sorry, it just took me away from the page then. I was like, oh no, what's going on?
Can you turn your volume up a bit?
Yep. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Let me just double check everything is on properly. We are on internal and yeah. Okay. Is that okay now?
Hang on.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, hang on. Hello. Hello. Okay. All right. Hello. Hello, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to another one of my shows. I think someone's got some timing mixed up tonight. But there you go. I've been having two guests on at once, and well, what can we say? Anyway, good evening, Biddy. How are you?
I'm good. I did wonder when I came on, I was like, have I got the right time? Who knows?
Yeah, we said 8:30, didn't we? My time.
Yes, yeah, I did double check. I was like, yeah, because I'm in the UK as well.
Yeah, because you're in the UK as well, ain't you?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. How you been getting on with your? Because you got a new EP out, ain't you?
A new single, yeah, it came out on
Yeah.
Friday. I wrote a drinking song for all intents and purposes to be released, at the same time as lockdown easing was meant to happen, and obviously that's not gone to plan. So now it's just a drinking song to kind of drown your sorrows to, I guess. And it did okay. It got to number one for a couple of hours anyway on the country charts. And we've had some good coverage and some nice reviews of it. So that's all you can ask for when it comes to
Yeah,
a single.
because you at the moment now you're going all over the place with interviews and stuff. I was getting on with all the interviews and all the coverage.
So, sorry, you've just come. You've realised you were coming through my laptop, and I've just put you in my ear. So,
Oh,
so in terms of coverage, we did talk radio, which was quite fun. We did that on Sunday, which was an incredibly long day down in London. And we've had, the usual for country music. There's only a certain amount of outlets that you want to reach. So places like Lyric Magazine, which is a country music magazine, and blogs such as Bells and Gals, which are always supporting country and especially British country music. And they've all been on board, so it's really nice to kind of finish a project. And now I've just got to make sure that people keep listening to the song where
yeah,
possible.
because it went to number one for around about was it 3 or 4 weeks?
No, just. Oh, what, the EP or the
Yeah,
single?
the EP.
Oh, the EP, that was back in January 2020. That again was only a couple of days. The thing is, the minute the charts move so quickly,
Right, yeah.
because obviously lots of independents it's a lot different now than back in the 90s or noughties when you could, you had to have a lot of money to release music. Now, as long as you can produce yourself or with someone, you can get it online and hopefully people start to listen to it.
What's the difference between you being a British country country artist, and because people will look at you and think, right, okay, you're a British country artist, and and the Americans say they'll probably look at you and think, yeah, but we are the people that invented country music, so why should the Brits and all that come over here?
I know, right? British country music. There is a bit of a glass ceiling. I think actually the British are worse for thinking, that British country music isn't country music. The Americans are quite, open to it. Been played a lot in Nashville and like in places like Canada, and they don't really care where you're from. It's just the British people are like, oh, British country music. And I always turn around to people and say, well, actually, country music actually started in Ireland and Great Britain, and then we went over to the Americas and took the folk tales and the folk music with us. So therefore, actually, country music is is ours first. But I know people do get up in arms about that, and there's not a lot you can do. But I always say to people who say they don't like country music, I'm like, well, do you like Bon Jovi from the 80s or Guns N' Roses from the 80s? And generally people say, yeah, I quite like them. I'm like, well, that is Southern rock as you'd know it now, Southern country rock, and there's loads of that about that's classed as country. So
Why country, Biddy? Why country music?
I honestly don't know. I think when I started writing songs, I just fell into that sound, and my voice just kind of suited it, and it just kind of probably grew from, my granddad and grandma. They were really strong country fans when I was growing up, and I spent every weekend with them, and we're looking at everyone from Conway Twitty through to the Dixie Chicks, or they're called the Chicks now, Faith Hill, Shania Twain, anyone like that. They always had their records of.
Right.
So I think, when you start to get influenced that young, just kind of
Okay.
naturally lent into it.
Okay. Who's your inspiration then in country music?
Ooh, good question. I I want to say someone like, I think Faith Hill was my first love in terms of her voice, because she's got this amazing voice and that style of music that I really enjoyed. But then, I also really enjoy people like the male country singers, and I'm going to go back to like Keith Urban, and I know he's not American, he's New Zealand. And just people with that overall kind of Nashville sound, as we keep calling it. Just, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And have you been to Nashville?
Nope.
No.
No,
So
it was on the
so
hit list.
yeah, I bet it is. I bet you would love that if you went to Nashville.
I've got family members who are like, you absolutely love it, there's music everywhere. I was like, yeah, no, I'm itching to go, don't worry. But finances and
Yeah, I speak to a lot of people who over in Nashville, and I have them on my program, and they, quite a few people, and they say to me, wherever you go, Steve, in Nashville, there's always singing going on from morning to dusk, and it's really all country and everything, and it's all really lovely. You can hear all the tunes going out down the street, people are dancing. You know, what do you find best about kind of like British country music? What do you think about it?
I mean, I think that there's a lot unknown, which is quite nice, but it's quite varied. You've got your heavy southern country rockers. I'm thinking of bands like Chris Barris, and he was meant to support Bon Jovi on tour this last year, but obviously that didn't happen. We've got Els Bailey, who's very kind of bluesy country, Americana. There's new artists coming through like Lady Nade. Again, she's bringing a new sound with her. It's kind of roots Americana. There's just such a variation going on, and I think that is played across the board on mostly independent country music stations. Obviously, your bigger country music stations like, Absolute Country, they'll play a lot of mainstream stuff. But there's quite a lot going on. Nice variation. And people like Kezia Gill, she's from Derbyshire, and she's probably spearheading now this kind of rockier country sound as an independent. And she's doing
Yeah,
well
yeah,
because Bob Harris likes her. So
yeah. Um, people. And how about your awards? How are you getting on about getting any event awards?
I haven't heard about them, to be honest. I think most awards tend to happen in music on from what I've seen, about September, October time, off the top of my head. We're in the finals for the International Singer Songwriter Awards, and they're definitely September because they were meant to be in Atlanta, but now obviously they're online. And a couple of the others again, yeah, October time. I only got so far. There was the International Songwriting Competition. I got to the semi-finals for that, and then we didn't get any further. But that's fine.
Yeah, yeah. Because US because BBC did something with you as well, didn't they? They did the country kind of like music showcase, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean the BBC. There's actually there used to be a lot more than there is now. Obviously we've got Bob Harris, and Bob Harris is like your gold standard if you can get on his show, which I've not done. I keep asking, but
Yeah.
there's only everyone wants to be there. But there's the big country show on the BBC, which off the top of my head I think that's like BBC Three Counties.
Right.
Dominic King on BBC Kent, he does a lot of country. BBC Liverpool used to do, and I'm not sure they still do because Mike Shepherd was great at it. There's bits and bobs. BBC Scotland loves country music.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They do, don't
And
they?
BBC Ulster as well. So it's kind of like in little pockets, and we've been quite lucky to always be supported by BBC Introducing. So that's nice to have locally, like on the Sheffield and kind of East Midlands area. But there
Yeah.
still could be more.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the highest audience you ever played in front of?
Not. I mean, I've been lucky enough to be in theatre shows, so kind of the bigger audiences have always come with that. And I think we played with the Chicago Blues Brothers in 2019. We played at Marvelous Festival, and I think that was about 6,000. So that was cool. That was nice.
Oh,
But on my own,
yeah,
not a lot.
because you've done theatre, because you've done quite a bit of theatre as well, haven't you?
Yeah, and that tends to draw a lot more people in because if it's everyone knows the Blues Brothers and shows like that are just kind of party shows and everyone's jumping around dancing to them,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
you generally get a lot more people watching you at those points.
Yeah. And what did you play in the Blues Brothers?
I was just a female singer, so it was a very loose kind of. I want a tribute show puts a lot of people off. It wasn't really a tribute show. It was a full stage production.
Right.
But they had, two or three female singers doing all like the Aretha Franklin stuff in between the backing vocals, and then obviously the Blues Brothers themselves and the full band to go with it.
Right. Okay. Um, if you went to Nashville and say that you were asked to go to the Grand Ole Opry, where everybody loves to go, won't they? All the
Yeah,
country
yeah.
artists, and you were invited to kind of sing with, sing with, sing with somebody. Who would that be?
Ooh, good question. I'm trying to think who I've kind of latched onto recently. Do you know what? I quite like a band called The War and Treaty. They're husband and wife duo. I guess she's got this beautiful kind of gospel voice. And their harmony's great. And I'm really into them at the minute. Not sure they'd want me on stage with them, but I'd happily help out.
Yeah. What do you think about Dolly Parton?
Dolly Parton?
Yeah.
Oh, I love her. I think anyone who's ever been into country music will always fight Dolly's corner. I mean, growing up, I was definitely more of a Reba girl, like the rockier side.
Yeah.
Storm and Shot Glass, things like that were just great tracks.
Yeah.
Fancy. But, she's a great songwriter. And I think, that story of her writing I Will Always Love You and Jolene in the same night. Like, who does that?
She
Who
must be
creates
really
two
talented to do
songs like
that.
that? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Your music is kind of very kind of spread really. You do all different kinds of level of music. How do you find that doing that with country music?
Country music is a little bit more focused, but if we've got so normally I'll write a song on either guitar or piano. I'll send a really rough demo across to Stu, who's in my band and also produces the music. He is a wizard. And then I'll also send him a list of tracks on a Spotify playlist that of things, right, I quite like the drums on this track, or I quite like what they've done here at the end, or I quite like this violin. And then we'll kind of piece it together from there, using the different inspirations. But yeah, that's the writing side and trying to keep in a box. But I mean, I've got a band starting, and we're just working on the band at the minute. And that's going to be more rocky. Whether or not that stays country rock, I don't know at the minute.
Yeah.
Whether or not
Is
they'll
that
actually
what you
respond to it.
is that where you want to go? Country rock?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I think it's more, I'm in my 30s, and so we're never going to appeal to the younger crowd anyway. So our crowd, I mean, I don't know about you, but we grew up on kind of classic rock as well, and the 90s and noughties were a really good time. Well, early
Yeah,
noughties.
yeah.
So it's kind of harkening back to all our influences now. And just kind of music that we enjoy. I mean, I love country music, but I really like, like the 80s Bon Jovi side of things as well, and Slash, and yeah, that heavier side.
Um, they say that about like the every side of rock, every music and everything else like that. They say sometimes people can't see because I'm not a heavy rock person. I'm a quite like I love all the music down from the 80s down to the 50s, say. All right, but probably that's because I'm old fashioned anyway. But I do like Tammy Wynette, Dolly Parton, and the rest of them. I really do. No shout, no shouting, and the rest of the country artists. But sometimes I think with um, heavy stuff, the heavy side of rock, I think it's not telling the story, though, is it? It's just kind of
No.
like banging on with the music. Do you agree, or?
Yeah. It's weird to kind of. I mean, what I've tried to do so far with the demos is try and keep that Americana country storytelling side to a couple of the songs,
Hmm.
so that it's not too scary for people who might
Yeah,
have heard the music already. And I say like things like the storytelling, more dark stories, like Johnny Cash and the outlaw stories
yeah,
that
yeah.
someone's murdered this person, or
Mm,
this woman's on the run. Trying to
yeah.
do it like that, but we'll see how it evolves. To be honest, and like I said, if it gets heavier, then obviously I'll look more into the rock side of things that I'm not as familiar with as I am with country, but you know.
Okay, Biddy. What we're gonna do? Before we go, we're gonna ask some questions because I've
Okay.
got a few people coming on.
Okay.
Um, it says, "Hi, Steve. Very good show. Thank you very much for letting Biddy come on. Very talented lady. Could you ask her when did she start singing, and what is her plan for the future?"
Ooh, so I probably started singing about 8 years old. There's lots of karaoke videos to prove that. I wasn't any good at that age, but my mum was a singer and my granddad was a singer before that. More for the fun side of it, and they kind of made sure I steered in the right direction, training wise, and like I said, now I teach singing as well. So what's next? I don't really know. We're going out gigging again. We're back to some gigs. And seeing how this summer goes. I don't have any kind of high hopes for the winter being open, but at least we can make the most of it again this summer and
Yeah.
do it live.
Rachel wants to know. Is one of our main people on here. She wants to know. Are you full time? Do you do it full time?
I used to, pre-pandemic days,
Yeah, yeah,
and now it's just, now I've taken on a teaching job. I mean, I finished my term today, but I also work for the NHS at the minute. So
Oh,
I'm
well
really,
done.
and I've been doing that since May. So kind of like I've been working every day for like the last couple of months, just because I am not sure. Obviously, I'm seeing on the inside as well how busy it's getting again. I don't want to let a day job drop at the minute because I don't want to be in the same position as March last year and
Yeah.
have no income
Is it
whatsoever.
getting busier now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously cases wise, it's busier, but I am not, I will say, lockdown 1 and 2, I was talking to people that, were really in bad shape or was calling through to get extra help. And now I'm just talking to people mainly like, that they're saying, oh, it just feels like a cold. So fingers crossed that the vaccines are doing their job,
Yeah, yeah,
hopefully.
yeah. Do you think we're in for another third wave?
I don't know. I think yes and no, but I think at the same time, I hope that, enough people have got vaccinated to break the link.
Yeah.
Yes, I think it's just something that's always going to be here. We had measles when I was growing up. Every kid somehow got the measles at some point when you're at school.
Yeah, that's true.
Things like that. So whether or not it's just something that stays and we just
Yeah.
work around it somehow.
Richard wants to know. This is so funny. He wants to know what's your most embarrassing moment when you're doing gigging?
I don't really know. I've had a costume slip before during a show that just disappeared down there. When I was younger, so I think I was 19 or 20, so I wasn't that bothered. This is gonna maybe get a bit gross for people, but I was working in Spain, and sometimes the food can be a bit rich in some of the hotels that you worked in. And I remember standing on stage, and I had one of two options. I either had to be like, carry on, when you start to sweat and think,
Yeah.
or I just said down the mic, which I chose, I'm going to tell the audience that I will be back. When I'm back, in the meantime, I'm going to put on some music, because otherwise, tonight could be interesting on stage. That was embarrassing, because, the toilet was the other side of this great big kind of theatre area. I was like, oh. I had to run through. That was pretty low point, not gonna lie.
And the last question for the night. Now, if you won £1 million on the national lottery, would you give up country music?
No, because I think, well, I mean, our dream, my other half is the same. My other half is a musician. Well, was a musician. He's got a normal day job. But we've always said we'd love to kind of live in the countryside and have some studios there that we'd produce the music from and just enjoy our lives that way. And I'd have my, singing, teaching studios. I'd have a couple of them. That'd be my plan. If I won $1 million. One can dream.
You just you never know, will you? You never know. You never know.
Oh, we'll keep putting the lottery on.
Okay, folks. So you can kind of like listen to Biddy's music on our web page, and also don't forget to kind of buy some of her music too, and also contact her on Facebook if you want to. If you want to ask anything else, just contact the direct. On our website, we got a profile picture about her. We got all the information about her. And that's it basically. And hopefully we'll get back on very soon. And in the meantime, guys, go over and have a look on her, on her music page. It's really good. I've been there. I was there today for about about a couple of hours, and I'm having a look,
Oh, thanks.
and I thought it was really good. The music was really good. So, Biddy, thanks very much for
Thank
joining
you.
me.
It's okay.
And you keep on doing it, and hopefully we'll get you back. Then we can kind of like play some of your music and get it out there more in the UK. In the meantime, good evening, and thank you very much.
Take care. Thank you.
Thank you. Here you go, guys. I'll be back in 5 minutes. See you in a bit.